Next up on our slate is Heather Marie H.M. Kanicki, and she is a fiction writer and poet living in Bay City with her husband. She is the author of the Clandestine series of novels, which include the titles The Fated, The Cursed, and The Betrayed. Her first novel, The Fated, was released in 2018. She is an independent author with a wide repertoire of writing styles, including poetry, short stories, and mystery. Her first poetry collection, The Airless Door, is a journey in healing from bullying, low self-esteem, and her grief about the loss of both her children through miscarriage. The collection is about acceptance and finding your voice after tragedy. A graduate of Central Michigan University, she taught composition courses at the university level for 13 years before becoming the testing coordinator at a local university. A little tip from Heather. The secret genre Heather loves is a good ghost story or mystery. She loves everything from Sherlock Holmes to Nancy Drew to Darcy Coates, and if it can combine mystery with ghosts, even better. So it's the perfect month to hear from Heather. Heather.
So the first poem I'm going to read for you this afternoon is entitled Carpeted Memories. This poem was born of a renovation of my parents' house. After 45 years of marriage, my dad decided it was finally time to replace the kitchen. But when I walked into the house and I saw these bare walls and bare bones, something in me just kind of cried, you know, because you've got all these memories of childhood there. And to see them just kind of ripped away, and I know we're going to build new memories, and that's fine, but to see these old memories just kind of disappear in a dumpster or out back when my dad was burning the leftovers, it's just kind of sad. So this one is called Carpeted Memories. It does go back and forth in time on purpose, so if you are checking for grammar, you know, that's why it does it. So Carpeted Memories. Carpeted memories stretch from wall to wall, showing the paths our feet daily tread upon. The sounds of laughter are barely muffled by paneled walls and lights that blink on and off when my brother's little fingers fidgeted with the switch. If I close my eyes, I can smell the burning biscuits and taste the lumpy gravy. We always ask for seconds to make my mama smile. The old yellow refrigerator, a relic of the 70s, was decorated with our masterpieces and faded pizza magnets. Photos of raspberries and cheesy smiles covered the hutch windows, while piles of discarded mail cluttered the dining room table. I still see my father at his desk, the smell of motor oil and breakaway ground into his freshly washed hands. The stains are a permanent part of him. The table, old formica that had worn like iron, is set for holiday meals and patched together tales that still bring delight on still summer nights. This is the home of my childhood. It is there I escape to. It is there I feel loved. It is there that I learn to be. So the second poem I'm going to read for you this afternoon, it is also from my first poetry collection, The Airless Door. This poem is entitled Barren Definition. This poem has gone through several iterations. So much of this book is about the healing that I have gone through after losing both of my children to miscarriage. Barren Definition, the first iteration of it starts about 7 years ago when my husband and I started to try to have children, and it didn't happen. And then after I lost one and then a second child, the poem changed. So I'm going to try and get through this without crying, but I make no promises. Here we go, Barren Definition. I hate the word barren. Noun, a place devoid of life. My womb is a desert, a place of sand and sunburnt plains, a location where only cacti and lizards dwell on desolation and semen dries unforgivingly on rugged rocks. I hate the word barren. Verb, the action of non-production. A wasteland T.S. Eliot would envy, ripe with yellow-orange skies that drip acidic rain, a home to burned-out trees and infant skeletons, where sperm bravely face their destruction. I hate the word barren. Adverb, a word describing the action of feeling empty. Hollow, like the entrails of space, it houses only Leo, who picks his teeth with the remains of Virgo and Taurus, while the echoing sound of an alarm clock shakes logical Capricorn awake. I hate the word barren. Adjective, a word describing a place of hopelessness. A lava field of immense heat, devoid of life. Containing ash-blanketed fallopian tubes, unable to accept passionate ejaculations. A portal, eventually bathed in the hardness of acceptable obsidian. I hate the word barren. Pronoun, another word for me. So the next one I'm going to read is dedicated to my husband, Kevin. After we lost the first baby, I was a wreck, of course, for about 8 months solid, I would say. It was pretty much a mess, but he was my rock. He was solid. And I was thinking about, how we both grieved differently during this entire process. And I came up with this thought, and it's actually in my poetry book, The Air of the Store. It's kind of an introduction to this poem. The poem's title is A Husband's Pain, A Hero's Walk. And the introduction reads, who is the real hero? The man who steps into the fight already invincible with his superpowers or arsenal of machine guns? Or the one who goes into the fight empty-handed with only himself to rely upon? And that's kind of the theme throughout the piece. There's quite a bit of pop culture references in here, so. He feels things differently than I. He must fix it. He must solve it. He must make it right. Superman without a cape. Batman without a bag of tricks. He is as mortal as I, though sometimes I forget. He hides his tears. He handles his pain with clenched fists. He feels with all himself. John McClane without Nakatomi Tower. Jack Bauer without a deadline. He finds strength in faith. He sees deeper than he lets on. He forgives with immediate passion. He is a hero in his own right. Iron Man without a suit. Captain America without a shield. So my next piece is entitled I Am Frankenstein. I am a huge literature nerd. Absolutely love literature, and throughout the entire collection of The Air of the Store, there are quite a few references to literary figures. I Am Frankenstein was born also, once again, after the loss of my first baby. I found that though I was going through this really horrific experience, so many people around me were also suffering, but they were coming to me to ease that suffering, which I thought was kind of ironic. And I was okay with it, but it was just really ironic to me that all these, it was like I lost the child, but all these people were suffering. So I Am Frankenstein was kind of born from that. So, I am Frankenstein. Raiding cemeteries at night, my dirt-splattered shovel is honed from overuse. In tombs and tomes, I seek the tools to bring dead flesh back to life and to cover over masochistic incisions with hope renewed. Am I the monster or the maker, grafting new excuses over infected ones? On a surgical table made of lifesavers, I must work miracles with the clay of man. I must fix the shredded hides of others, but with a mediocre sewing kit, mend my own pain. Some of the poems inside The Air of the Store are also poems about healing and finding inner peace through tragedy. A couple of years ago, I went to a town in Michigan called New Buffalo, which is right on the water. I was there for a conference for work, and every day when the conference was over, I would sit on the balcony that overlooked the marina, and it was beautiful and peaceful. And one night when I was sitting there was a storm rolling in, and you could see the lightning flashing in the distance. but the storm was far away, but the rain had started to fall. And I'm just sitting in this Adirondack chair on this balcony and just watching it, and just this incredible peace came over me. This poem is entitled Metaphors of Rain. It's based on that experience. It's a very short poem, but it is about finding peace in the middle of that storm. Metaphors of rain. Humidity thickens the air like cornstarch. Clear rain tapping the water's top mimics the flapping of butterfly wings. Waves erase ripples from droplets like rough spirits, and in the center of each point of chaos, there is stillness, peace. The last piece I'm going to read for you today is actually the first poem I wrote after a 20-year hiatus from writing poetry. My first attempt at poetry came in 10th grade when I was asked to write a poem that adhered to iambic pentameter, and it had to rhyme, and it was an extremely scarring and horrific experience. So I very quickly decided poetry is not for me, because I hated it. Got a mediocre grade on the assignment, hung it up, called it a day, went back to writing fantasy novels. But in 2018, my friend Donnie Winter took me to a poetry reading, and I was just blown away how these people were sharing their lives, but they weren't rhyming. It was amazing to see this. So I went home that night and I penned The Numbers Game. The Numbers Game it's total emotion. It is my life on a page. It is about my struggle with weight. It is about my struggle with self-esteem and the bullying that I went throughout my whole life. I've been bullied since I was a small child because I was overweight. In fact, I still have a yearbook at home from my middle school years where one of my friends who never signed it, signed their name, but who said in it, "Have a nice summer, you're a wonderful person, but you're too fat and you need to lose weight." I was 11 years old. So this poem is for you, whoever you are. The Numbers Game. All my life, I've played the numbers game. My worth was added to and subtracted from. I was weighed on a bathroom scale and found wanting. The year 1990. My weight 120. A thick, slow child who loved words over softball and board games over badminton. A 2 on a 10 scale. Or so I was told. 1995, 200. I pretended not to mind the jokes as I climbed those 835 social stairs, literally and figuratively. I did it, sort of. They say 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 1997, 254. Here comes a new twist. Area code 617 saw an 8. As long as he was 11 hours and 39 minutes away. The number you're trying to reach has been disconnected. 2006, 199. 6'3" played a game of 20 questions left unanswered, subtracting again from my self-worth. I was 9 millimeters from taking myself out of the game. 2009, 220. No longer on the bathroom scale of value. It's 1 + 1 = 2. Finally a 10! Or so I thought. Before diabetes inflated my assets from 1416 to 2628. 2016, 298. Heavy, slow, and only 2 inches from death, my 1 + 1 = 2 now saw me as a -5 as we resorted to hallway sex with slamming doors as division signs. 2018, down by 60. A new numbers game to play. No more bets as I settle the score. To those who judged me, those who quartered and halved my worth based on an 18 or a 20, I say, fuck you, I'm an 11.